Every person in this world when they turn 18 years old will be transported to a mysterious space to play a game of hide and seek with life and death. They will transform into various objects to avoid being hunted down by their killers. In this world, death means disappearing from the world forever. However, if one can successfully survive, they not only obtain special abilities and a large sum of money, but they can also attain eternal life. It was at this moment that Sumu regained consciousness from his coma and found himself back in his room before he had traveled through time. He thought everything he experienced was just a dream, but as he heard a ringing in his ear, his vision blurred once again. Then, a familiar voice came from beside him. "Boss, are you okay?" The advertisement girl looked at him with concern. He had been in a coma since the game ended, and she was worried that something had happened to him. As Sumu was unharmed, she pounced on him with a cry of relief. "Wow, you scared me. I thought you had died." Soon, more footsteps approached them. It turned out to be a helicopter and the surviving contestants who came to thank Sumu. Without his help, they would have been eliminated. "I also want to thank you. Without your cooperation, I wouldn't have won," Sumu said. "Boss, I sent you a friend request. If you need anything, just call me. We'll leave you two alone now." As he left with the other survivors, Sumu couldn't help but think that he misunderstood their relationship. "Boss, are you really a novice? Why are you so good?" the advertisement girl asked. Of course, she didn't know that Sumu was a detective before he traveled through time. Sumu quickly covered up and said, "It's because I've taken extra care of my diet. It helps a lot with sharpening my thinking skills. Eat more vegetables and less fast food. Exercise more, and you'll be as smart as me." He didn't expect the advertisement girl to write down his advice and promised to follow it. "Boss, thank you for carrying me in this match without ever giving me a cold shoulder. I hope to play with you again in the future." "That's right. Don't forget to accept my friend request. Smell you later," the advertisement girl said as she was transported out. The entire arena was left with only Sumu. At that moment, his system interface suddenly popped up. After the end of the real-life hide and seek competition, other players returned to reality, but Sumu returned to his exclusive personal space. Now it's time to settle the rewards for the competition. Congratulations to Player M for your outstanding performance in the special round of hide and seek battle veteran versus beginner. You easily eliminated two A-ranked veterans, and the match came to an unexpected early end. You have attained a perfect score of SSS. You obtain the following rewards: EXP gained plus 824, current EXP 824, unassigned attribute points 30, title Lucky Star. Obtained special reward HP grade level up potion limited. But the two regular victory rewards that followed left Sumu a bit confused. What weird items were they? Obtained hide and seek battle reward Mahjong. Obtained additional title permanent livestream guest. Sumu asked the system, "Hey system, what are these two pieces of Mahjong? What do they even do?" But the system replied, "The effects shall be revealed when the player participates in the second round of battle." Sumu was irritated and asked, "Do I still need to join one more battle before I get to know? Didn't the rules say that 18-year-olds would only need to join the battle once?" However, the system refused to answer, causing Sumu to give up struggling. Next, Sumu began to check the uses of other rewards. Lucky Star, unique, probability of death under natural disasters reduced by 99%. HP grade level up potion limited, increases the HP grade of the user from G grade to F grade. There is no effect on users beyond this grade. Every battle or challenge you participate in would be broadcasted live globally. Outstanding performances during livestream shall be rewarded with special prizes. Furthermore, as a permanent livestream guest, you will receive the blessings of the realm. You would have 3 lives for revival in the real world. Being able to revive for 3 times after death in the real world, this is not bad. However, is this potion really so important? Why did Python bother risking her life just to get it? Do you wish to allocate your attribute points now? Raise the 3 vital stats to 10 points each. For the remaining unassigned points, I will decide next time on what to do with them. Allocating points. Please hang on. Just as Sumu finished allocating his attribute points and was about to return to the real world, the system suddenly reminded him that he needed to participate in the second game within 3 days after the end of the competition, or else he would be wiped out. Before he could even start cursing, he was transported out. At this moment, Sumu stood alone in a cyberpunk-like city. He didn't expect the technology in this world to be so advanced. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his head, and a large amount of memories flooded into his mind. It turned out that the original owner of this body had a mother who was seriously ill when he was very young, and she passed away not long after, leaving him and his sister to rely on each other. And the original owner gave Sumu a chance to travel through time because he chose to take medicine to commit suicide on his adult day. But as the memories of the two merged, Sumu became increasingly uncomfortable. The original owner's memories seemed very painful and fragmented. After a while, he finally recovered. Since he couldn't go back for the time being, he planned to find a way to survive first. Soon, Sumu came to the door of his memory's home. After hesitating for a moment, he still chose to go in and take a look. But as soon as he opened the door, a pair of hands rushed towards him, and before he could see who it was, he received a big hug. "Little Mu, you finally came back. How was your time in the space? Did you survive until the end? Were you scared?" The woman in front of him, who was very concerned about him, was his sister. "Yes, sister, I succeeded. Can you please let me get up first?" first. Sorry, I was too excited just now. Little Moo, you've worked hard today. Come in and rest. Just as Sumu was getting up to go inside and rest, he suddenly noticed something unusual. Did we have visitors today? There are several pairs of unfamiliar shoes by the shoe cabinet. According to the memories of the original owner, the woman in front of him was not related to him by blood. She was the daughter of a single mother. After Sumu's mother passed away, his father brought her back. Later, the original owner had a sister named Suya. Not long after that, his father settled abroad with the single mother and rarely came back again. So now, there were only the original owner and his sister Suya in the house. Suya woke him up and Sumu asked if there were any visitors at home. Suya responded, "How did you know? I thought you wanted to go back to your room and rest. Today's guest is also a veteran player of the game," she added. Upon hearing this, Sumu was stunned. How could a veteran player of the game come to his house? He asked his sister, "When did you make friends with these people? Why didn't I know about it?" "They are friends I just met recently," his sister explained. "In the future, if you have any questions about the game, you can ask them." Sumu quickly pretended to be naive and said, "Oh, that's great. I can ask them about the game then. The hide-and-seek game we played earlier was too dangerous," Sumu continued, "especially that woman called Python. I was almost shot dead by her arrow." He was about to say something more, but his words got stuck in his throat. Sumu was surprised to see the two familiar figures sitting in the room, Python and her teammate, whom he thought had died in the game. Suya, who was standing next to him, looked at him curiously and asked, "Do you know them?" Sumu quickly explained, "No, of course not. They are just too beautiful." But he knew the truth. In the game, he had transformed into an object, and even now, facing Python, she wouldn't recognize him as M. "Hello, sisters. My name is Sumu," he said, trying to keep up his innocent act. "Su's sister, your little brother is so cute," Python said. "That's right. Don't be shy, little brother. If you have any questions about the game, you can ask us anytime," her teammate added. Sumu nodded and continued to pretend to be innocent. "Sisters, this is my first time playing the game. Can you give me a brief introduction? To put it simply, if you want to obtain wealth, abilities, or even your life, you must keep entering different types of game spaces and challenge them. Besides the space game, when you turn 18, it's up to you whether you want to participate in future game spaces, all relying on players' own decisions. Since everyone has an initial chance of survival, many people choose not to enter again after being eliminated once, and according to the settings of each space game, the difficulty will also be different. Finally, the rewards and points we can get will be different." Sumu now understands that the reason why the Python didn't die was probably because it used the game's reward of a chance to survive, and he himself will soon participate in the next game. After taking a hot bath, Sumu was going to rest, but he slipped and accidentally tore off Suya's towel. The consequences can be imagined. When he arrived at school, his classmate, Fatty, boasted to him about how he hugged M's thigh yesterday and gained 3 attribute points as a game reward. It is worth noting that according to statistics, the highest attribute points that can be obtained in the first game are 4 points, and it's already good for a normal person to have 0.1 to 0.4 points. It was then that Sumu remembered that he had a total of 19 attribute points that had not been allocated. While they were discussing, they didn't realize that Fatty's boasting had angered Bald Zhao, who usually bullies classmates in class. Seeing that Bald Zhao was about to start a fight with Fatty, Sumu provoked him and said, "Don't tell me that you haven't become stronger even after losing your hair? No wonder you're so angry." At this time, other classmates joined in and said that he had a strong body but a simple mind. The Bald Zhao, who couldn't hold back, started a fight. Little did he know that he would be taken down by a move from Sumu, who had gained a lot of attribute points in the game. Now, he had strength and agility that far surpassed that of a normal person. The Bald Zhao immediately backed down and ran away, leaving the nearby fat guy moved to tears and promising to thank Sumu properly in the future. After returning home, Sumu planned to enter the game again while Suya was away, but he didn't even know how to enter the space now. As he was complaining, the communicator next to him suddenly lit up and the personal game space channel was opened. The system asked if Sumu wanted to enter, and after agreeing, he was directly transported to his personal game space. Now, he had to choose a difficulty level using 2 dice, and the sum of the dice would determine his game difficulty. Finally, his game difficulty was set at 5, and the system matched him for the game. The second game officially began with Sumu as one of the 3 fugitives in a role-playing battle royale. They needed to search for task boxes in the mansion and complete the tasks by following the clues in the boxes. Once they completed the tasks, they would learn the correct way to escape. The success condition was that if at least one person in the team managed to escape, then it would be a team victory, but if all team members died, then it would be a failure. Sumu began the game with a difficulty level of 5 and thought it was a medium to low level challenge. Little did they know it was a high-end game, not only with basic rules but also special rules. Just based on this mandatory rule, the difficulty of this game skyrocketed. The system prompt indicated that the game would start in 10 minutes, and they should choose exclusive items. Hearing this, Sumu became interested. The key of Mr. Door, used to pass through a door to get to any location on the estate that has another door, limited to single use per hour. The pocket watch of great fortune, used to temporarily stop the time for 3 minutes, limited to single use every 30 minutes. The PP needle, used to revive one teammate, limited to single use per hour. The 3 items had 3 levels, levels: normal, special, and legendary. At the moment, Sumu was indecisive, considering which one to choose. Since there were labels, they could only be selected based on their attributes. Although the key of Mr. Door sounded very attractive, it had limited locations and could easily be trapped. Reviving teammates seemed like an extra life, but it was of little use to Sumu, who had strong personal abilities. In the end, he chose the Pocket Watch of Great Fortune, which could greatly increase his survival rate at a critical moment as a killer move. Subsequently, the system prompt gave Sumu another surprise. He triggered the Lucky Star exclusive title and activated a special ability for this game. 1. The ability to change the elimination condition of other players. 2. The ability to check on the elimination condition of other players. Except for checking their personal elimination condition, this ability could only be used 3 times per hour. Meanwhile, when Sumu looked at his teammate, he found that his teammate was a little advertisement player whose mandatory rule was to hold both hands over his head. From the dress up, the rules were clearly tailor-made with a certain pattern. So Sumu checked his own elimination condition, which read, the player has to blink in 10 minutes. Timing remaining is 4 minutes. As expected of someone with a protagonist aura, even their elimination condition was so simple. Meanwhile, exclusive items began to appear in the hands of players. The monk player shouted loudly as he drew a broom, cursing the system with foul language. His teammates couldn't stop him. Suddenly, an explosion occurred and the monk player was eliminated on the spot. The system indicated that the player had triggered the elimination condition. It was all because the monk had cursed the system with a dirty word. The confused crowd discussed what exactly the elimination condition was. 2 players had already died before the game had even begun. Just then, a wizard wearing a magic hat chimed in, speculating that the monk might not like sweeping, while the Taoist next to him might have been too close, showing a keen understanding of reasoning. Everyone became worried upon hearing this, thinking that the elimination condition was too absurd. As they complained about the game's high difficulty, Sumu revealed the true reason. The elimination condition was related to each player's character. This level of reasoning was simple for Sumu, a former detective. As it turned out, each player's elimination condition could not be separated from their role in the game. The monk and the Taoist had both done things that were not in line with their roles, triggering the elimination condition. As long as players did not act in ways that contradicted their character's settings, there would be no danger. The system's subsequent announcement confirmed Sumu's deduction. The monk triggered the elimination condition by swearing, while the Taoist triggered it by making a loud noise. Meanwhile, the audience outside the arena was amazed by Sumu's deductive abilities. With just a few clues, he was able to deduce the pattern of the elimination condition. As expected of a master, he truly had some skills as he could make a judgment within a minute. This opponent was quite interesting. After the discussion among the group ended, they met up with their teammates one by one. Little ads also introduced Sumu to a new teammate. Looking at the admiration on his teammates' faces, Sumu couldn't help feeling proud. The system prompt sounded once again. There were 4 pursuers and 22 fugitives in this competition, and the exclusive item extraction time had ended. N11 reminded everyone that there were hidden rules in the game and the competition field was a luxurious castle. Players were advised to explore on their own. The pursuers would arrive in 15 minutes, and good luck was wished to all players. The Sumu team, who had just entered the castle, were shocked by the maze in front of them. Instead of aimlessly searching, they decided to take a different approach and start searching from the entrance while everyone else was looking for treasure boxes inside the castle. They made some progress in just a short time. As expected, with the main character Aura's blessing, Sumu unintentionally triggered a mechanism and found a treasure box. However, N11 was speechless at this point. She had searched for a long time in that same location but never found any mechanism. Yet, Sumu successfully triggered it and found the treasure box. It must be said that the big shots really had some skills. However, just after Sumu opened the treasure box, he was shocked by what was inside. He never expected to find a cell phone in the box. What surprised them even more was that the exclusive task assigned by the box was to take photos. The system prompted the team to activate the exclusive task and use the smartphone to take a close-up photo with all the pursuers within 48 hours. The task required all pursuers to show their faces. Only one of the 3 team members needed to complete the task. Upon hearing this, even the small advertisement gasped in shock. This was a game of cat and mouse, not child's play. If you want to take a picture, then take a picture. Even Enshi on the side felt that it was unreliable to ask the pursuers to take a photo. It would be like asking a chicken to wish a happy new year to a wolf. However, Sumu at this moment was unusually calm, not to mention that he had a pocket watch in his hand. Even if he didn't, he could easily achieve the task. In fact, the tasks released by the system have certain patterns. As long as the player reasons a little, they can figure it out. This seemingly impossible task is actually very simple and can only be achieved in one situation, which is when they have just arrived in this game space. There will definitely be a short time limit to ensure that the evaders can complete the task. As long as they use this time limit reasonably, taking a photo will be easy. Of course, not everyone dares to do this task. Even Sumu kept a watch in his hand as a backup plan. This way, even if he misjudged the situation, he could still by 3 minutes of time take the photo and escape smoothly. At this moment, all they needed to do was to wait quietly on the square for the pursuers to arrive. The system prompted that the evaders' preparation time was over and the pursuers were about to enter the game. Just as the voice fell, several beams of light descended from the sky, revealing 4 human figures. They were the pursuers for this round of the game. At this moment, whether it was the evaders inside the castle or the audience outside, they vaguely felt a powerful force, and they found that the leader of this group of pursuers was the top player on the scoreboard. Even the team members were all members of our country's special forces, and their strength was terrifying. While the audience and the evaders were sighing, an untimely voice rang in everyone's ears. "Come on, let me take a group photo of you all. Otherwise, if I eliminate you later, you won't have a chance." Sumu was trying to complete a special mission. He wildly waved his arms at the pillar of light that appeared before the pursuers, not worried at all that someone inside might jump out and attack him. His arrogant behavior instantly ignited the passion of the audience outside the arena. The audience's worship of Sumu elevated to a new level, as this was the first time that the fugitive had not been bullied. Meanwhile, those knowledgeable individuals in the stands recognized Sumu's extraordinary abilities, realizing that he knew how to use the game rules to his advantage. They thought that this kid was really something and must be a top-level player who had returned to the novice village, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. They mused, "This little guy is quite interesting. It seems that this competition will not be boring." At this point, the 4 pursuers and Sumu stared at each other. Whitehair looked at Sumu's triumphant expression and was filled with rage, clamoring to tear him apart. The two exchanged vicious words back and forth, shouting, "You hit me! You hit me!" Sumu's expression begged to be beaten up, leaving the audience speechless. If it weren't for the air barrier, Whitehair would have been the first to charge out and take care of Sumu. Even the leader of the pursuers, who was chasing after Sumu, couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Ha ha ha, this is the first time I've encountered such a dodgy fugitive." Suddenly, the system prompt sounded, and the team completed the exclusive task. Just as Sumu received the notification, the actions of the pursuers also entered the countdown. Sumu saw that the situation was not good, so he threw down his phone and ran away. In the distance, the small advertisement and end sheet also breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that the task had finally been completed. However, they did not know that the real danger had just begun. The system prompted the pursuers to choose a monster to transform into, and 90 seconds later, the air barrier would open, officially entering the game space. As you can see, the pursuers this time had the ability to transform into powerful monsters. Keiko Senyama, Senin Ishida, Seiji Katahara, and Yui Kimura had all made their choices, causing the audience outside the arena to gasp in shock at the oppressive feeling that they exuded. Fortunately, as their combat power increased significantly, the game restrictions also increased, or else the fugitive would really have no chance. "I'm handing that little guy over to you. Don't disappoint me." The others will continue with the original plan. Now, let the hunt begin. Returning to Sumu's side, the 3 people hiding on the roller coaster were completely unaware that danger was quietly approaching. Standing high and looking far, "My idea isn't bad, right?" Little advertisement said proudly. However, Sumu knew that this game was different from the last one, and simply hiding was useless. Just as they were laughing and talking, a loud explosion came from the distance. "They have arrived."